All right, so now that you know the goals and objectives of today's class, we're going to start by calculating the BMI. So the formula for the BMI is height in inches times your height in inches, and we're going to call that answer X. And then we're going to divide X by your weight in pounds, and we're going to call that answer Y. And finally, we're going to multiply Y times 704.5, and that's going to give you your BMI. So for today's example, I'm going to use myself. I'm 6 feet tall, which equates to 72 inches. So we're going to start with 72 times 72. And that's going to give us 5,184. All right, so the next step is we're going to divide that number, X, 5,184, by my weight in pounds, which is currently 200 pounds. So we're going to do 200 divided by 5,184. Put that in a calculator, and it's going to give us a long decimal number. It's going to be 0.038580247. All right. Finally, we're going to multiply this decimal number, which is Y, by 704.5 to calculate the BMI. So let's multiply this number by 704.5. All right, so my BMI is going to be 27.1. Thank you. Now that you know how to calculate your own BMI, now we're going to calculate our age-adjusted maximum heart rate. So for starters, we all know the human's maximum heart rate is 220 beats per minute. So to calculate your age-adjusted maximum heart rate, we're going to take that 220 and just subtract your age in years. That's going to give you your age-adjusted maximum heart rate. So again, I'm going to use myself for this calculation. So let's start off with 220. And I'm 30 years old. We're going to subtract that by 30. And that's going to give us 190. So my age-adjusted maximum heart rate is 190. All right, so now that we know how to calculate our age-adjusted maximum heart rate, we're going to calculate our target heart rate at 60% using the Kevorkian method. So we already know that our age-adjusted maximum heart rate is 190. And I'm also going to use myself for this scenario. The formula for the target heart rate at 60% using the Kevorkian method, we're going to take our age-adjusted maximum heart rate and we're going to subtract that by our resting heart rate, and that's going to give us our heart rate reserve. Now we're going to take our heart rate reserve number and we're going to multiply that by the exercise intensity, and in this scenario it's 60%, 0.60. And we're going to call that answer B. So we're going to take B and then we're going to add it back in to our heart rate reserve. And that's going to give us our target heart rate at 60% exercise intensity. So let's begin. So for starters, we already know that our age-adjusted maximum heart rate is 190 beats per minute. All right, and then we're going to subtract that by our resting heart rate. And I've already pre-calculated my resting heart rate at 60 beats per minute. And that's going to give us our heart rate reserve of 130 beats per minute. All right, now we're going to take our heart rate reserve and multiply it by our exercise intensity of 60% or 0.60. So that's going to be 130 times 0.60. And that's going to give us 78. Lastly, we're going to take that answer B of 78, and then we're going to add it back into our resting heart rate. Our resting heart rate is 60. So we're going to take 78 and we're going to add it back into our resting heart rate of 60. And that's going to give our target heart rate at 60%, which is going to be 138 beats per minute. Okay, so just to recap, we went over how to calculate our BMI, our age-adjusted maximum heart rate, and our target heart rate at 60% using the Kevorkian method. Now for your BMI, I recommend calculating your BMI on a monthly basis just to make sure you're staying at a healthy body weight range. All right. Now for the age adjusted maximum heart rate, I recommend calculating that once a year, particularly on your birthday or after, because this number is going to drop by 1 every year as you age. All right. Now finally, for your target heart rate at 60%, 60% is generally known as the steady state cardio. Is what most people use when they go to the gym and do cardio for a long period of time. So it's important to know that 60% exercise intensity number. So you want to calculate this. I would say monthly. Your resting heart rate may change as well. So I would say calculate and get this number monthly. So when you go to the gym, you already know that target heart rate number you want to be at for your steady state cardio.